All right, today's guest is a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, an IFBB Figure Pro, and boasts a following of over 600,000 followers. Please welcome to the show, Taylor Spadaccino.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, thanks for being on the show today.
Of course, I'm excited.
Well, we're excited because if anyone knows you from Instagram, you are a very private person, except in your stories where you're very transparent, might I say.
A little bit.
But you're known as a fitness influencer, if you don't mind me saying that word, because you carry your body like so well. There's so much muscle, and obviously a lot of hard work has gone into that physique of yours. And most recently, you were voted best arms, I believe, in the Fitness Girls polls.
Yes, yes. Which is funny to me because we'll get into that. But
But what I admire most is your damn legs, girl. Like seriously, your legs are insane.
oh, stop it. Yeah, they're cool. I don't know. I work hard on them.
See, look at that. Those quads. It's ridiculous. Anyways, whatever. For the people that don't know of you just yet, other than being a fitness model with a huge Instagram following, you were in the Marines, girl.
I was. I know. Sometimes I can't even believe it. I'm like, oh, did I really do that?
And it's not really typical of beautiful girls being the Marines. You're like in the 0.00067 percentile.
It's funny. Yeah, because the reputation is that they're like, kind of, I hate using this word, but like butch. Oh, that's such an ugly word. But like, masculine almost. But some of the most beautiful females I know were Marines. It's pretty crazy. And
Really?
veterans in general. Yeah, there's some really beautiful veterans.
Well, yeah, but then in the Marines, you did have a lot of like, sorry to use this word, but butchy ones as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, but there's some really pretty ones. That's honestly really surprising.
There, like pretty one, like right there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That was in Afghanistan, yeah.
Like, what did you do in the Marines? I know that you weren't in the trenches.
I was aviation maintenance administration. Honestly, it's like a lot of nerd and calculator work, like calculating inspection times when the engines needed to be worked on for all the aircraft. So
a lot of brainiac stuff, really.
yeah, that's where I found out I really liked numbers and math.
Did you still need any combat training for doing that
role? You have to go through all of that, of course. Yeah.
What was your training like? Like shooting guns and like, I don't know what it's like to be in any type of service because that just wasn't my thing. Did you have to like do training where you're like rolling on the ground or like?
You do, but it's not every day. I feel like commercials make it seem like every day you're going to be doing like obstacle courses.
Yeah, like Tough Mudder.
So badass. Like you do PT, you work out in the morning and you might have to do like a hike or, you work out at 4 a.m, but then you go to your job and you do your job. And I'm not in the infantry, so I'm not, exploding things or shooting machine guns. It's not my job. My job is to do calculator work. So, after I go do my PT and whatever the unit has going on, then it's like a normal job you go to. So training's mixed in, but it's not like every day you're out there, carrying someone and ammo cans and stuff. So.
But you still had to learn to shoot guns and whatnot, no?
Yeah, of course. And you have to qual like every, so many months and stuff. You have to go to the rifle range and requalify.
Did you have to do any like climbing ropes or any of that kind of physical training?
Yeah, so you do like the rappel tower and climbing ropes, and I was so bad, and I'll never forget in boot camp, I was one of the only girls that couldn't climb a rope. And I just remember I was like flailing from the rope, like my legs were kicking and they were screaming at me. It was pretty terrible. So
and what other
traumatized by climbing ropes?
Well, kids learned to climb ropes in elementary school.
Yeah, I guess I skipped that part. But I will say I did try CrossFit a few years back and I finally learned how to climb a rope, and it was good. It was satisfying.
The feet in the rope between your feet, isn't it?
Yeah, I just couldn't do it. So, but now I can, so that's cool.
Nice. Well, if you, I guess, are running away from like a evil person and there's a rope hanging around, you could easily escape them.
Exactly.
For training for your role as the aviation
maintenance
calculator person, did you have to take a course for that? It's like an accounting course?
Yeah. So, I did go on to get my accounting degree after the military, but Yeah, so like once you go through boot camp and then you go, you go through your basic boot camp, you become a Marine. And then after that, you go to this thing. So like MCT, they call it. And it's basically in-field training. You're living out in the field for a month. And when you're infantry, you go through longer training. But, since that's not my primary job, you just go through a month of it and you learn how to live out in the field. And then after that, you go to school, basically. You basically go and get taught how to do your job. So, and it's all different all over the country. The schools are all over. Like I learned my job in Mississippi. And then once you graduate from learning your job, then they send you off into the fleet and they send you to wherever you're stationed. And then you go and I didn't know what to expect, but it's weird. You have your PT, you do your things with your unit, but it really is like almost like a civilian job. You get up, you do what you got to do, and then you go to your job and you work your job and then you go back to the barracks or back home. So
you were never in any danger while you were deployed?
We were. Well, actually, yeah, this is like, it's a crazy story, but
please tell. This is a crazy
I don't know. It's the coolest thing I own, though. My grandmother has an award we got attacked by the Taliban. It was pretty crazy. Our unit, VMAQ2, get a shout out, the Death Jesters. We were also called the Playboys, but then it became politically offensive and they changed it to the Death Jesters. Okay. But, nobody expected us. We were on a base. We're not infantry. We weren't expected to really see any combat action. And within 2 weeks of being there, our camp got attacked, and we actually won Unit of the Year in the Marine Corps, for how we handled it. Because we're air wingers, we're not infantry, we're not supposed to see that type of stuff, and it just so happened to be the worst attack the base had ever seen, and it was crazy. But the coolest thing I have in my name is I have an award for my leadership from that day, from rebuilding the barriers and the base, the base walls. So it's pretty cool.
Wow! So yeah, you were actually on site.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I saw strap. I thought I was going to see my gunnery sergeant die and bleed out. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting into this. We need to like cut this part out. But it was crazy. I mean, he got hit with shrapnel. A couple of our guys got Purple Hearts. It was pretty crazy.
So you heard this, like the airplanes overhead, like what did you hear? And did you hear screaming or smell? Like,
so when you first get there, they teach you that Amber Alert, which in the United States, it means missing persons.
It goes on your phone and it makes a super annoying noise.
Yeah. And it means missing persons, someone was kidnapped. But over there, I don't know why they chose it, but that term, but over there, it meant that some shit's about to go down. We're about to get attacked, whether there's mortars. Mortars were very common. I don't know if you know what mortars are, but
what are they?
Mortars are basically like homemade bombs. A lot of times they launch them. They're not very good with their weapons, like the Taliban wasn't or whatever. But they launch them, and wherever they hit the base, they hit the base. They're like ghetto homemade bomb launchers. I don't know what you call
bombs.
Them.
Nothing.
Yeah, during the day, it's they don't want to get caught during the day doing it outside the base, so they put like wax or something that will melt, and the sun will melt it, and it'll shoot them off during the day. So they go up at they'll shoot them off at night, and then they'll set them up for the next day, and then the sun will melt the wax and launch them. It's pretty crazy, but
that is crazy.
So I had heard Amber Alert, and I was taking Ambien. I couldn't sleep out there, and I'm like, Amber Alert. I'm like, someone's missing. I like wasn't putting two and two together. I'm slightly high at this point, I'm like in my little hut. And then next thing you know, I heard that it was going to be like such an easy deployment. The base just gets mortared. It's going to go smooth. When the base gets mortared, it hits somewhere on the base. You just go into the bunker. Well, we hadn't been mortared yet. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be such an easy deployment. And then all of a sudden I hear Amber Alert. And I'm like, oh, someone's missing. What's going on? I'm in my own little world. And then it was like, boom. It was the craziest boom I've ever heard. And I yelled to the other girl that was in my hut, and we went out to the bunker. I was I'll never forget. I was in these old Navy boxers my mom had got me with little hearts on them, and
throw that in there.
Run out to the bunker.
That's funny because there's Old Navy because we're in the Marines. I don't know
jacket or anything. I was like half prepared, and we run out, and it's just the loudest. I mean, it was like something from a war scene from the movie. It was just insane because it was grenades. They had their rocket launchers. It was insane. Suicide bombers got over like the wall. It was pretty wild. So there's that. But we were in the bunkers for 9 hours that day. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they had like a bunch of guys. It was kind of crazy because we had our laundry. I'll make this short. So over there we had local Afghani people did our laundry. And my mother would always be like, no, you can't give your laundry there. They're probably like sniffing your underwear or something. And I was
They're probably wearing it as a mask.
so I actually stopped sending my laundry. My mother freaked me out. She's like, you probably have Afghani men sniffing your underwear. So I'm like, oh, great. So I got to wash it in the bathroom myself now. Thanks, Mom. Now I'm freaked out. But we had an army. So it was a joint force base. We had, U.S. Army. We had Georgian soldiers. We had, actually had locals living on base next to us, next to the Marine camp. It was pretty crazy because they always had their like Allah music going off 5 times a day, like their prayer music. Mm-hmm. That was pretty crazy. But the laundry, so the locals that were doing the laundry for like the U.S. people, you submit your laundry, you get it back. They stole U.S. Army camis, the fatigues, and they had given them to the Taliban out in town. So when we had we had people watching on the corners of the bases, and they got confused because it was Army fatigues, and the Taliban shaved their beards. So they were really confused, and they were like, is this U.S. soldiers coming over? And long story short, it wasn't. It just turned into a mess.
That's insane.
So, yeah, it's crazy. Long story. You can just chop out whatever you want to chop out.
No, it's an amazing story. So honestly, Taylor, the stories that you think are long and boring, it's exciting for us because the majority of us have never been in situations like that. So
I never thought I would ever be. I'm like, oh, I work on a calculator. Like, nothing's gonna happen.
So they shaved their beards. They took off any like headwear that they
of course. And they were in their U.S. Army fatigues. And it wasn't so technically we had Air Force on the corners of the bases that was watching. It wasn't Marines. Oh my goodness, thank goodness it wasn't Marines. But they got over like the wall, and then we had a suicide bomber get over the wall, and he actually had wire clippers. It was this huge thing. It was crazy. And we were in the bunkers for 9 hours, and I remember my gunnery sergeant was at the end of our bunker. I don't know if you know what a bunker is. It's like this big concrete cave, basically you hide in when shit's going down.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, my gunnery sergeant was bleeding out, and our corpsman, which is our naval nurse, every Marine unit has like a naval doctor, I should say, attached to it that takes care of the Marine units, because the Marines don't have any doctors or medical fields, so we use the Navy. So I remember Doc was like, somebody give me their fucking t-shirt. I need to do a tourniquet. I need to do a makeshift tourniquet on this gunnery sergeant. And I just remember thinking like, okay, if I don't die today, I'm going to watch my gunnery sergeant die. So either way, I'm screwed, So I was saying Hail Marys. I probably look like, I don't know. Oh God, just talking about it. I haven't talked about it in a while, so I'll never forget it. But
well, it's not something that you can easily forget by any means.
No. So anyways, but I got an award. It was like the coolest thing. Back to it. I'm all proud.
Aww.
And I am. And it was for my leadership and rebuilding, and despite lack of sleep and everything. So that's that. But
did your sergeant survive?
Yes. Yeah. He got a Purple Heart. It was my gunnery sergeant, correct? Yeah.
And why were you in the bunkers for 9 hours? Were you just
because they were all out in the field outside of the base, and they were spraying, like the choppers were spraying bullets down to make sure that they got everyone. And yeah, it was a long day.
Wow,
that is to make sure that they got everyone, what was going on, and I don't know, it was long.
I'm sure your adrenaline was on high the 9 hours.
Yeah, I think by the end we were all just mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I wish it happened at the end of deployment. It was like 2 weeks in. So then the rest of the deployment, I'm like on edge, I'm like, couldn't this shit happen like the last week I was here? But
oh my gosh. You grew up in Pennsylvania, I believe?
Yes.
What made you even think about joining the service? Because I mean, I don't know what it's like, because I would never consider it, but what would motivate someone to join other than serving their country, of course? Like, weren't you afraid? Weren't your parents like,
yeah, I had no clue what I was getting into, to be honest. I just knew that college wasn't the right route for me. I didn't have my priorities straight. Definitely did not. I didn't have respect for others. Like, I just knew college wasn't the right option. And I had talked to a buddy, and he's like, yeah, you should enlist in the Marines. Like, I did. It's going to be a lot of fun, And I'm like, I don't want to go to college. Let's just do it. And I worked at Hooters my senior year of high school. This is so funny. And the recruiters used to come in, the Marine recruiters, and they'd be in their dress blues. And I'm like, oh, they're sexy, So it was like, you should join the Marines. I'm like, oh, yeah, the recruiters, they come into my work. So, I started talking. And of course, it's good when they recruit people, it looks good for them. And I'm just a dumb little fish in the pond, and they hooked me. And I had no idea what the Marines were, like nothing. All I knew about was the Army, and that was about it. And I remember I enlisted, and I told my mother on the phone after I enlisted, and she's like, "What do you mean you joined the Marine Corps?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm going to boot camp." And she's like, "Do you know what the Marines are all about?" And she sent me a documentary, and I watched it, and I almost shit my pants. I was like, I don't know what I just signed up for. So,
but the Marines are one of the more hardcore types of
I'm biased, so I'm gonna say they're just known, they're very I think their standards are pretty high. I respect obviously all branches, but I will say the Marine Corps standards are pretty high. So.
I think if anything, there is one above Marine Corps, is like Navy SEAL. No,
correct. Yeah, for sure.
I think the motto, I don't know if this is accurate, because I have a friend that was in the Marine Corps. He's like, Taylor's a good friend, you should keep her around, because like they'll never leave anyone behind. I'm like,
yeah, basically.
Really?
That's a big thing. Yeah. And it's crazy. I don't know if you know this, but the Marines is actually a department of the Navy. So the Marines is actually part of the Navy.
Oh, part of the elite.
So, well, there's the Navy SEALs, and there's the Navy, and you got all the Navy and the Navy SEALs and the Marines in it. So not a lot of people know that the Marines are part of the Navy. So.
Well, I would imagine so, because it's like sea-based, Navy, Marines. I don't know.
Marines. Do people consider Marines sea-based?
Well, I think like the marina is like by the sea, No. like Marina Del Rey by the water.
Cali girl over there. Marine.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so, Karen, but I'll let it slide. It's okay.
Well, whatever, man. Who cares? But okay, so your mom was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah, she was totally freaked out, but she was happy, and she says now, look, I'm like cutting you off. I'm getting so into this.
No, I love
she's happy now. She's like, it was the best thing you could have ever done, because I didn't have my shit together, so it was the ass kicking I needed.
It straightened you out, so to speak.
Absolutely, yes, completely changed my life around.
So how were you before you joined the Marine Corps? Were you like?
I had I was a troublemaker. I've been open about it before. I was in rehab for Oxycontin my senior year in high school.
Oh, wow. How'd you get your hands on Oxycontin?
What's that?
How'd you get your hands on the Oxycontin?
I'm not gonna say any names, but my high school sweetheart might have introduced me to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a downward spiral, and I went, to rehab. I missed part of my senior year. I was just, I didn't have any priorities, and drugs and alcohol, and partying just kind of got the best of me, and yeah, it was a struggle, but
wow.
Yeah. Okay.
And how old were you when you went to rehab?
I was 18.
18.
Yeah.
And then when you got out of rehab, you were working at Hooters.
Yeah, I got out, and I missed a couple months of my senior year, and it was weird because everyone knew where I was, but I got out, and then I started working at Hooters, and I told my mother I was the hostess. And she was so pissed at me, but like I was gonna do my own thing, like she couldn't. This poor woman, like I was just gonna do whatever I wanted to do. As much as she tried to steer and guide me, I just would rebel the more that she tried.
Yeah,
so really, and I look back, I'm like, oh damn, like I was really shitty. But I told her I was a hostess, and then next thing you know, I said, well, they were missing a waitress, so they gave me a pair of shorts, and I threw them on, and she was like, you're a senior in high school, and that's kind of just, she had to accept it. That's what it was. I was going to do it anyways, so.
How do you become a waitress at 18? Aren't you supposed to be 21 to serve alcohol?
No, I guess maybe, no, not over there. I was 18, I was working there. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was a bunch of girls in college working there. I don't know. Maybe it is on the West Coast, but I never thought about that.
I don't know. Well, maybe I'm thinking about Canada, because in Canada, you have to be of age to serve alcohol.
And I don't know. That was a while ago. That was like 10 years ago. So things may have changed.
Maybe. So moving on, when you're out of the Marines, you're like, okay, I had enough of this. I am going to move on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
You got your accounting degree from what you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Come on, you do not look like an accountant. Like, stop it.
I just saw like the hottest accountant on Instagram the other day, and I was like, you go, girl. It was really cool. Yeah, she was like an influencer, and she was an accountant. I thought it was great. Yeah, I don't know.
Numbers, though. I I guess if you're good with numbers, you should do something that you're good at.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. Like doing math and stuff.
I think you must have got my Asian gene because I suck at math. I was freaking horrible at counting. Anyways, it's a different story.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
Actually,
I don't know. I've seen some people who are really bad at math.
I'm just not good. Not good at all. Okay, you didn't get your body just from climbing ropes or like, doing trench training. You obviously spent time in the gym.
Yeah.
And you progressed to become an IFBB Pro, which is, for those out there who don't follow bodybuilding, IFBB is like the premier league for bodybuilding and fitness competitions. And being a pro means you've surpassed the amateur ranks and you've joined the cream of the crop of that association. So for those of you who don't know, now you know. And Taylor was in the figure division, excuse me.
Yeah.
But okay, this is like another feather in your cap, basically, being a IFBB Pro, aside from being in the Marine Corps.
I guess, yeah. It was a goal I definitely wanted to hit, and I did it. So that was really cool.
And why did you decide to lift weights?
When I was in Afghanistan, there was like nothing to do. And I hated PT before that. Like before the Marines, I was not into working out or anything. I barely got by boot camp. Like I was terrible. And then I went and there's nothing to do. And when you work a 12-hour shift and the other 12 hours, it's like work out or, hang out with people. And I decided to work out and I had a computer in my shop. And I remember, so I started out in the bikini division and I remember, looking at like the IFBB pros, I would like Google, I'd like sneak around and like Google it. And I would just be like, wow, like they look so good. And I was like, oh God, they got these great boobs and their bodies and their butts. And it's funny because bikini was so different than it is today. All the divisions were so different, but I was just like, wow, like I want to look like that. And there's nothing else out there to do. So I was like, I'm going to start working out here, like really working out. And I did. So.
And it was quite a change from where you started to where you are now. I don't think we have a picture of that, but I did see it on your Insta stories like a few days ago or last week.
Yeah, it was a teeny little thing.
You were tiny. You're like, it was not even recognizable.
I know. Everyone was like, that's not you. I was like, yeah, it is.
Well, I guess it is if you like cover the body part and just looked at your face. It looks like a young Taylor.
Yeah, baby Taylor.
What year did you start competing again?
It was right before I did my first show when I was in the Marines, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was 2012.
2012. So like 9 years ago, really. And you obviously
you're good at math. There you go.
Well, that kind of
pretty good.
Okay. Under pressure, I'm not so good. But it took you 9 years to build the physique you have now because honestly, like it takes a lot of work to put on all that muscle. And do you feel like okay, back to your legs again. Do you think your genetics played a role in your legs or it's just like pure hard work? Because you are half Italian.
Yeah, I'm actually only a quarter Italian.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think I got the genetics from that side at all either. I don't know. My mom was an athlete growing up, so maybe like some genetics from that. But yeah, maybe, but a lot of hard work for sure.
Of course. I've seen
everyone's always going to say genetics are a big part. And I'm sure that's got something to do with it, but
I think it does. 'Cause I mean, being Asian, I don't really have a predisposition to grow large muscles easily. So I train legs super hard, heavy, and I'd have to eat a lot, but it'd be like compounded in months and years if I really wanted to get huge legs, which I don't have that consistency anymore.
Mm.
But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's genetic predisposition. Genetic predisposition. You have the good genetics, so
yeah, I don't know.
I think so.
It's a lot of consistency, like you said.
That's true. Now, after you turned pro, did you compete in any pro shows?
I did one, and then I prepared. I think I got like 12th out of 17. It was not good for me.
But I mean, it's your pro debut. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, I wasn't heartbroken. I was just like, okay, we got some work to do. And then I got ready for another season. I was supposed to do New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, and Toronto Pro. And right before I had like some personal issues, I ended up getting very sick, and I had to back out. And actually, when I got very sick, I was like, I think I'm done with bodybuilding. I didn't love it the way that I used to. I didn't have that passion, that fire burning anymore, you know? So and I think it was like physical and mental health, they rolled into each other, and I physically didn't feel well and I mentally didn't feel well. And I gave it up, and I kind of switched to CrossFit for like 7 months religiously. It was so crazy. I feel like I just like swung the other way, you know?
It is actually, because bodybuilders make fun of CrossFitters, and I'm
All
sure
the time, I know. And I thought I was super fit. Oh, the camera. I thought I was super fit until I walked into a CrossFit gym and I got my ass handed to me.
it's humbling.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like really. It's just completely different training. So
It is, because sometimes it's like different workout each time, and sometimes they have you running around. It's like, bodybuilders don't run around.
I know. And I got anxiety. And I never wanted to try CrossFit before. I didn't like the fact that I didn't know what I had to do. And maybe they're going to make me do something I don't want to do, or I don't like, or I'm not good at. And I don't know until I get into the gym that day. Because that's scary, you know? It's like, oh my God, am I going to have to go in and do 100 burpees and run 800 meters every 5 minutes? You know, you don't know what you have to do. So that was a challenge. That was definitely stepping outside of my comfort box. But I ended up liking it. And it's like, okay, like, what are we going to have to do today? I don't know. So I don't know. I loved CrossFit. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Then why did you stop?
So I noticed, as much as I loved CrossFit, I still had some bodybuilder in me. I think I always will, where I care about my physique and, you know, I aesthetics. And
How it looks.
I noticed it's a lot of cardio in CrossFit. And a lot of endurance training. And I just started to like just lose a lot of muscle, honestly. And it's funny because you always see like CrossFit games and these girls are just jacked. Like they look so good. Their legs are like beefy and strong. And I was just withering away. And I think it's because, you know, not only that's what they do for a living, like the women at the CrossFit games, and they lift weights and they do all, you know, that's what their training consists of. But for me, going to the CrossFit gym once a day, I was withering away, and I was like, oh, I don't like how teeny I'm getting. I miss my muscle. So I went back to the regular gym. I was doing a little bit of both, and I just ended up going back to lifting weights. So.
Wow. I guess CrossFit is a lot of cardio, but were you not eating enough, or like what was?
It might have been something with that, you know. I was also adjusting to not being on a rigid meal plan and not being with bodybuilding anymore. And it was so weird. It was like learning to live again after doing like bodybuilding and competing for so long. I felt like I was stepping out into this world. Like I didn't even know how to eat like a normal person. I know
like from 6 meals a day, eat like 3, like a normal person.
Yeah, measuring your food and your macros. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't know where to begin. Like, how do I just do my own thing? Like I just felt so lost, even eating all the time. So maybe I wasn't eating enough. That's definitely a possibility. But there is a lot of endurance and cardio work.
Yeah, I get it. And how many times a day would you CrossFit? Just once a day?
Once a day, yeah.
Wow, that's insane. The calorie burnage from the one a day.
Oh yeah, crazy. I mean, I have never sweat like that, especially in the Las Vegas heat. Whew.
Oh my God. That's another thing. I don't know how you... Well, obviously I know how you live in Vegas, but I feel like it's so dry and it's hot in the summertime.
It's dry. Yeah, the hot doesn't really bother me. I'm not like gardening or anything. Everyone says this, and I'm like, really, like, what are you guys doing outside in the summer?
That's true.
Like, what do you think I'm doing out there? I would love to know, because I go to my car where I get in the air conditioning. I go where I've got to go, and then I go back into my house where the air conditioning is. So
that's true. You don't have the Vegas logos walking around on the strip or anything. It's just the
no. So yeah. I don't really deal with the heat that much.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, never mind that question then. I know how you live there.
Air conditioning.
So going from competing to CrossFit, basically retiring from the competitive circuit, your Instagram has blown up exponentially. I don't want to say a short amount of time, because I know you do put work into it. Yeah. I feel like there's such a contrast between being in the Marines and being an influencer, but at the same time, you've shown me so many different accounts where girls used to be in the service and they have these Instagrams that doesn't reflect any of their past. Like I was shocked at some of these girls that you were showing me. I'm like, from coming from the Marines, so respected, and then seeing these Instagram girls, like basically I don't want to do it, but I won't do it for funny, for shits and giggles, but like their legs are up like this.
Yeah.
Like both of them. And like, I don't know how that even works where it's like 180.
Yeah.
But you've done it in a way that's super classy and respectable.
Yeah. And, you know, I got to say, like, I think part of it, when a girl gets out of the Marine Corps, I feel like you probably feel like you've been pent up a bit, you know, like I felt like I just can't wait. When I got out, I was like, I can't wait to just be like a female. Like, you know, you wear your hair back, you wear camis, you basically, you know, and especially, you know, there's other branches that get to do things like wear earrings and wear makeup and lipstick. You know, in the Marines are like, we're much stricter on the females. And you kind of get your, you know, your feminine side and your womanhood kind of gets a little stripped from you. I'm not going to lie, you know, and you're in these baggy camis and your hair slicked back, you know, like in a helmet with so much hairspray every day, and you can't really wear makeup, and your nails have to be a certain length and a certain color. Nothing can be eccentric. You can't have too many highlights. Like, I feel like when you get out, some women kind of go a little like, you know, they're like, woohoo, like I'm out, I can do whatever. And I know some girls that recently got out and I see their pages and I'm like, wow, like they're just went woof, like they just went the opposite direction and kind of went extreme. And I think part of it probably is, you know, they feel like they were kind of like, I don't want to say caged up, I don't know the correct term, but you know what I'm saying? Like kind of letting loose and letting their, I don't know, their more feminine woman side out.
That's sort of like, I don't what's the word? I'm like, not maybe like Mormons or like people that are in strict religions, how they break free and they go wild, really.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, right. Oh my gosh, totally. And that's actually a really good point. And I think also a lot of women, like in the to be a woman in the Marine Corps, you go through so many different things with, you know, just respect, and also when you're a Marine, it doesn't matter what you look like. If you have a vagina, you are wanted by everyone. Like it's crazy. And I think there's so many different elements that causes women to kind of go a little wild. But
let's talk about that. I feel like because everyone's so deprived when they're deployed overseas, that basically, like you just said, if you have a vagina, you're attractive to all men out there, no matter how you look like.
exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
Do you feel like a lot of the women in the service, they're promiscuous because of that physiological need and being wanted because they feel their femininity is stripped in the uniform and stuff?
Yeah, well, I think women probably, like, maybe they didn't get attention before the service, and then you're in a service with, you know, you're one of 10 females out of 200, you know, Marines or whatever it is, and you have a vagina, and you're in, you know, some guys are going to want you, you know, no, regardless of what you look like. And maybe you didn't get a ton of attention before the military, but now you're in the military surrounded by guys that are dogs, just like, you know, women can be dogs too, but we're all dogs. But, you know, then you're surrounded by all these guys that just want you regardless of what you look like, and you're getting all this attention, and it feels nice. And maybe you didn't get this attention before, you know, and then you're in a military town and there's not that many, you know, women or wonderful looking women, and you're just, I don't know. My buddy always says, I mean, this is actually, I can't even, we might have to edit this out, but my buddy always says, you know, you could be a 3 in the real world, but you're a 10 in the Marine world, you know. It's just,
that makes sense.
That's terrible that I just repeated that.
It's not actually, because
it's actually awful. But I mean, it's yeah,
it's accurate.
He's got some.
Well, it's the same parallel. It's like I feel like every industry or place has the same parallel, because when people move to LA's full of 10s. Let's say if you're a 10 in Louisiana, you come to LA, you're a 5 because you're in a pool of
just perfect, like beautiful women, you know?
Yeah. So it's the same thing, I think. I remember, okay, so usually with people who compete, they start doing photo shoots and stuff. And that's how, not all of them continue photo shooting, but some of them do. And I think that's how you started, no?
Yeah. I was competing and I was like, oh my gosh, I look good. I want to document this, you know? I want to have something to show for it. So
Yeah, and as you should, because you worked months and months so hard, dieting so
Of
hard, all
course,
that
yeah.
cardio. But then there are fitness photographers and there's other types of photographers. You probably started with the fitness photographers that focused a lot on muscle. Then you kind of transgressed. You moved over to a more soft, feminine look.
Mm-hmm.
And you worked with numerous photographers. I've seen your page. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
There's one right there. Gorgeous.
Oh, thanks. Don't make me blush.
I'll make you blush all day. See those legs, those glutes. Get out of here. Get out of town.
Ah, stop it.
They're
Next
very
photo.
Let me tell you, the hamstrings are one of the most hard body parts, especially in the legs, to build. But you're obviously genetically blessed. I mean, there's going to be haters online, and I feel like the more followers you have, it's easier for these haters to hide behind your following. And I've seen some of the comments, not even on yours, but on other people's. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you ever confront them or have a feud online?
I try not to. I have some good friends that go to bat for me. But Karen. But no, I try not to. And I try to remind myself, but this is very difficult to do. But I try to remind myself that no one that is happy with themselves or content with their life is spending time on Instagram putting others down. And when I remind myself that, I almost pity these people. And I'm like, damn, like your life must be really rough if you're getting on here and harassing me and putting, women down that you don't know, that never did anything to you. Clearly you have some shit going on in your life. So I feel bad for you. I actually say prayers sometimes for these people because I'm like, damn, like you must be going through some shit if this is what you're doing. I feel bad for you. So honestly, when you think of it like that, it's not so bad. And you're like, I just hope this person gets help.
But the root of it is because they're not happy.
Yeah.
And like why are you posting in a public forum being a hater? Like how embarrassing.
It is. And what's that quote? What you say about someone else is a reflection of you, not that person.
It is true.
I think I butchered it, but you get the point.
But that definitely is true. Now, other than haters, you have a lot of like people that adore you as well. And I'm sure you get a lot of like creepy ass DMs and whatnot.
Oh, I think every woman does, and every man probably does as well. It's a weird world. I'm curious about
that too. If the men's gets some DMs,
yeah.
But what I've heard athletes are notorious for sliding into females' DMs. Is this accurate? Is it fact or fiction?
I think so. Athletes with the blue checks, yes.
Oh, I heard the blue checks are the worst because they have the blue check.
Oh my gosh, they feel so entitled. It's disgusting. Yes.
How embarrassing.
And this is what they do though. They don't follow you, but like I think they like just send like a message to a bunch of girls and see who they can like reel in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they don't follow you, but they'll send you like some cheesy ass short little message or whatever, and see who takes the bait.
It's sort of like handing someone a fistful of darts and turn off the lights, spinning it around. I was gonna throw this, see if this one hits anything.
Yeah, no, literally, it's a great example.
That's so. Speaking of like sliding in DMs and stuff, like, what's the most preposterous sort of what's the word I'm trying to look for? Proposal you have gotten that you could think of off the top of your head? I know I'm putting you on the spot with this, but
I don't know.
Well, there's a basic stuff like I want to be your sugar daddy, or like I want to buy your underwear, your socks. Just don't wash it.
Yeah. And I feel like, of course, you're always going to get your feet stuff. Oh gosh. I don't know if I told you this one before, Karen.
Dude,
I'm sitting on this one. Oh my gosh, this one was crazy. So a man, I feel even wrong sharing this, like having to share this with the world. But a man, first he asked for photos. I don't even know how to properly word this, Karen. Is this like, gosh, he asked for photos of my number 2 in the toilet.
Your ANUS?
No. Like my shit in the toilet.
Stop it.
Right. So I'm like, what are you gonna do with these? And I'm so curious. Like, I'm like, what are you gonna do with these? Right. And he's like, just imagining. Okay, I can't even go into details, but
Don't go to details.
he's like imagining it coming out. Like, I guess it's a fetish. And I'm like over here, and my sister's screaming. I'm on FaceTime telling her, and she's like, ah! And then, but he asked me to send him some in a Ziploc baggie, and I really wish this
Stop it.
up. I swear to heavens, I wish it was a joke. And my sister and I were like, "What is this man gonna do with it if I actually sent him a baggie of my shit? Like, what would he do?
How would you even mail that?
I don't know. How do you FedEx a bag
Like-
of your
like-
shit? I don't know.
Vacuum packed or what?
Vacuum seal it? Do you have to freeze? Like, put the dry ice? I don't know.
Like, how do you prevent it from smelling when you're transporting it?
Well, I would imagine that they probably don't mind that. And I mean, come on, you're obviously a little twisted if that's what you want. So I feel like we might let. I was completely taken back, and
Yeah.
I was so curious. I kept saying, like, what are you gonna do? And then he tried to pull this card on me. He's like, I'm a fellow Marine. I promise I won't share with anyone. I'm like, I don't give a shit who you are. If you were a Marine, you're not getting my poop.
Wow. Did he offer you like a certain amount of money? Did he state a price?
Yeah, it was like $1,000. I'm like, okay, you better bump that up a lot if you want me to consider this. I would never, obviously, but I think it was $1,000 to send him a Ziploc baggie of my number 2.
And Adam, like $1,000 service charge, because for you to pick up your poo from the toilet, that's like that's work.
So
I don't want to touch my own poo.
No.
Oh my God, this guy.
Get enough.
Imagine if he lived in like Vegas and they had to put the mail carrier had to put the poo on the doorstep, and it's like July in Vegas or Miami.
I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was definitely the most bizarre.
You have like
you know what made me think of it, because I feel like I thought of feet, and then I feel like peeing is popular too. People want you to pee on them. That's a popular thing, I feel like, everywhere. And in Vegas, I hear stories about this. It's very strange. But then that reminded me of
That's a really good one. I've never heard of anyone being solicited to send their feces before.
No, and I was so curious. I just kept asking questions. It was bizarre, but
yeah, I'd be curious too. And honestly, like any requests like that, I'm like, are you catfishing me? Are you for real?
I know. Yeah, I know. I think he was totally serious.
Wow, that's insane. That's a very, very niche request.
Yeah, there's some like weird fetishes out there though.
Yeah. Anyways. Wow, I'm like speechless right now. Anywho, dead air.
That's crazy.
Well, obviously photo shoots are your thing. What else do you feel like you want to do? I mean, you've conquered being a Marine. You've hit the pro status of IFBB. What's next? Is the next goal hitting 1 million followers on Instagram?
I mean, that would be cool. I mean, Instagram's not my whole life, but I mean, of course, I'm always trying to grow. But what's next? Shit.
Like you're still young, dude. Like honestly, you're still young. You always think that you're not, but I think
you have to remind me this. But I don't feel that young. But I'd love to go eventually, personal life, get family and all of that. But business and career wise, I think maybe start my own business. I don't know. I would like to be my own boss, I think.
I think that's key also. I mean, because you've traveled the world and like you haven't had a legit solid long-term 9-to-5, I think at this point, I don't think you're set for that life, being stuck in an office.
Yeah, I tried it and I didn't last very long. So I don't think it's for me.
Yeah. And also, I think people don't know that you're a very down-to-earth, homely type of person. You're not out in the scene. And
so far from the scene, whatever the scene is, I'm away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of misconception when you're an Instagram person that, you're all about the Gucci, you're all about the Prada, you're all about like the fancy cars and like that, but you're not. You're really down to earth. And I've met people that aren't like that are Insta famous. So I just want the audience to know that you're a super cool chick.
Well, so are you. And that's why we're friends. But
true.
I don't know. I think I'm like the biggest plain Jane and like nerd and nothing special. Like I'm literally just a dork. So
No, it's funny how like you perceive yourself and how others perceive you. So, if you ask 10 people and they give you like a lot of the common answers, then that's probably who you are.
Yeah,
So your opinion doesn't count right now.
I'm just a giant dork who likes to work out, so that's what it comes down to.
That's awesome. All right. Well, as we taper towards the end of our interview, because I know you're a busy lady and you got to go, I have a little fun segment at the end of my show. Sometimes I do fact or fiction. Sometimes I do never have I ever. But today we're going to do never have I ever.
Oh gosh, jeez, Louise!
Surprise, surprise!
I'm starting to stress sweat already. Okay.
Hope you got some deodorant on. All right, let's do this. All right. So first, never have I ever.
Wait, how does this work? Is this? Do I do this on my fingers? Is this no?
No, you just give me like I've never or yes or no.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say if I say, "Oh, I've never have I ever drank water," and I'll say, "Oh, I never or I have or whatever bullshit, whatever."
Okay, so I confirm or deny.
I think you're just cutting off a bit, so it'll just wait till it settles. Okay, there you are. We're good.
Okay.
All right. First off, never have I ever peed myself in my adult life.
Shit. I'm totally guilty.
Oh, you have. When and where?
Yeah, I was definitely like 21 or something like that. I was in the Marines. I definitely pissed. I got so drunk and I peed. I got no shame in the game. Yeah.
Oh, in your pants, you pissed also like full on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was sleeping.
You're sleeping and you peed yourself?
Well, we partied hard in the Marines, and I was definitely blackout drunk and peed my bed. Yeah.
Okay. Respect for admitting that. All right. Next, never have I ever clogged a toilet at a friend's house and left the scene of the crime.
No, but that is one of my largest fears ever. Like, I'm so scared of that.
Okay.
I mean, like that, yeah. Oh, even having to go, like if I had to go number two, like a friend's house, not a big deal. Like if I was at, my girlfriend's house, I wouldn't care. But like a guy, oh,
The worst. And it's going to be a smelling.
I had to go to the store or something and go shit at the store. I would be so scared. I think it's a fear to have to go to the bathroom at a guy's house, like you just started dating or something. Oh no,
That's the worst.
Yeah, I would do whatever I had to do to like hold it or go somewhere.
Okay.
I'm very in that answer. Okay, next question.
Next question. Never have I ever woken up from farting in my sleep.
I probably have. Like, I know I've woken myself up from my own snores. Like I feel like I was falling asleep and I'll snore really loud and wake myself up. I probably have from a fart. No shame. I mean, that's a probably. I don't know if I have, but we'll go with like, yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Never have I ever crop dusted and blamed it on someone else.
Totally crop dusted, haven't blamed it on someone else.
Okay, so that's a 50-50 there.
Yeah, who hasn't crop dusted? Come on. If you say you have never crop dusted, that's like saying you don't pee in the shower. Everyone does it. It's just whether you, admit to it or
Admit
not.
it.
Yes.
Well, hell. I think it's like most of the population type of thing, but no one will admit it.
No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Never have I ever talked shit about someone over text and ended up sending it to them.
Absolutely have. I learned my lesson. I have learned my lesson.
Who and why and when?
It was actually, well, I'll never forget. It wasn't text message. It was a voice call. And I'll never forget. I was in high school. This all goes back to high school. And my girlfriend were talking and we left it on another girlfriend's voicemail.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we got caught red-handed.
What did she do?
She obviously was pissed. It caused like, a huge fight and everything, but I don't remember the details. I'll never forget that. It was a big deal. Because I think it was me that accidentally called and my girlfriend was pissed. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, no.
Oh, my bad. But I'm oblivious, I'm in my own little world. I'm not surprised.
Were you guys friends after?
I don't remember what happened. I'm sure there was a big fight, but
Obviously, you're not friends anymore.
no, I don't really keep in touch with high school people.
All right. Okay. So one more. Let's see here. Never have I ever forgotten the name of someone I had sex with.
No, not, I mean, I forget the names of a lot of people. And actually, I was going through my phone the other day and I was deleting contacts when I was bored on the plane. And I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, there's like 70% of these people. I have no clue who this person is in my phone. But no, that's really bad. Like, that's pretty intense if you forget the name of someone you had sex with.
That's
That's
pretty
probably
bad.
not a good sign. Like, yeah, no. That's not
Or
good.
someone just has bad memory.
How bad is your memory? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think I have.
I was about to be like, Karen, you want to tell me something?
But I also feel like I wouldn't say their name just for the fear. I might say the wrong name just because my brain is.
Oh, that's such a fear, I feel like.
Yeah, so I never say names.
That's very smart. It is a big fear of mine. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh.
I know. Because like, what if your brain's just trying to like play with you? Like, his name's Jared, but you're gonna say George or something, and you say George.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That would be a nightmare. Very awkward.
Yeah, because we don't want that happening to us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be really bad for your self-esteem.
What would you do?
I would have a meltdown. Come on, that would be so depressing.
Would you like punch him in the face?
Oh, I think I'd at least bitch slap him.
All right, Taylor, thank you so much for being on, and I hope our audience learned more about you.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And where could everyone find you? On the IG, on the Twitter?
Instagram, that's like my big thing. I don't know how people keep up with more than one social media. I feel like I barely have time for Instagram.
Yeah, so it's Taylor_Spadaccino.
Yes, correct.
So spa and then DA and then chino, like cappuccino.
Absolutely, as everyone says, yep.
I don't know how people not know how to say your name. Like, how do you say her name? I'm like Spadaccino, exactly like how it's spelt.
Yeah, no, it's very difficult for most people.
Yeah.
They all butcher it. Yeah.
We're not like most people, so just kidding. So there you have it, folks. Yeah, so make sure you check Taylor out on the IG, and we'll catch you later.
Bye. Thank you.